Okay, you are logged into Twitter. You have your username, your account. You are all set to go. And one of the biggest differences between Facebook and Twitter is the fact that Facebook was really set up to network with your friends, your families. Twitter, you can do the same thing, but it seems like a lot more people use it for professional networking, connecting with companies, organizations. A lot of people follow their favorite sports teams. So it's a little less personal than Facebook, but the networking aspect is really great, and that's what people like to take advantage of. The other big difference when you do send a status update, which is a tweet on Twitter, you are limited to 140 characters. So you can send a tweet hitting the tweet button up here or the what's happening box up here. It'll open up your tweet box for you and you are ready to type away. You'll see here though the 140, that means you have 140 characters. If you go over 140, it'll give you a little red negative number down there and it won't allow you to hit the tweet button. So just keep that in mind. So Twitter is short and sweet. That's kind of Twitter's thing that it's known for. A lot of people like that. You can also add links, photos. You can't directly upload videos like you can with Facebook, but you can share a link to YouTube. So you're at your home page. Let's just go over what the home page is. So everything on your home page, so you get there, you click home. When you log in, this is where you'll go. These are all the people that you are following. So you'll see them in your newsfeed here. You can scroll down, and these are all the people I'm following. If you run across somebody that you're not following, and let's see if I can find an example of that, it will be because somebody you're following retweeted something like this. I'm not following Tom Ferguson, but I am following the Dan Le Batard show, and Dan retweeted that. So you can see that up here. You may say, well, I'm not following Tom. Why do I get his tweet? Then you'll notice, okay, this person retweeted him. That's who I'm following. You'll also notice once in a while you're getting a tweet from somebody you're also not following, and you'll see a little yellow star that says sponsored, and that's a sponsored tweet, so that's advertising in your news feed. You also see some suggestions who to follow, gives you a brief kind of bio capsule of you, your tweets, how many people you're following, and how many followers you have. And this right here, the @RyanPFerran, that is my username. That's your Twitter handle, and that you will have one as well. Above it, when you sign up for Twitter, you can have the Twitter username, but then you can also put your name up there as well. There's only one unique username for the Twitter handle, but if there's a lot of Ryan Ferrans out there, Ryan Smiths, it's a good way to recognize people when you do the searching for them. So notifications, this is where you can see where people followed you, they retweeted you, maybe they favorited a tweet. So this is where you'll see all your interactions with the people you're following and who is following you on your notifications. Messages, there is a direct message function, which is the messages. For short, it is called DM. You may see somewhere if somebody mentions you publicly on a timeline or a tweet, they may say DM me. That means send me a direct message, which will be a private. You can find all your private messages in there. Everything else you send out when you send a tweet is public. When you mention somebody, even if you're just mentioning one or two people, other people can see it. It'll be posted on your timeline. So beware of that. So if you're not sending a direct message, it is public. Discover, this is where you can find things that are trending, the most talked about things. You'll see down here in this trend box. So currently right now, these are the top 10 or so things that people are talking about and hashtagging. And then here is the search box where you want to find businesses, organizations, sports teams, who to follow, or you can type in hashtags. Let's type in Arcadia Unified School District I work for, very biased towards it. So you type it in, it'll start giving you options. It's kind of like Google that way. So if you want to find a specific user, go back to the search box. I want to find, I'll put the at mention. I can, or you can leave that out if you want to, but just I'll put in Scott Bramley, and he starts to come up. Click on that. This will take me to his profile. If I want to follow him and I'm not following him already, just click the follow button. And then when I go back to my home page, his tweets will show up there. So composing a tweet, let's go home and click the tweet button. So this is where you send out your tweet, also known as the status update on Facebook. I guess I'll accept that. And if I wanted to hashtag Twitter, I could throw a hashtag in there. It'll give me hashtag suggestions below it. If I wanted to mention somebody, I do the @ symbol, and I need to know their username. It will give me options that will pop up. I wanted to mention Scott Bramley, @AUSD Bramley. Now I can just click on it. If he didn't pop up, I can just do maybe I want to mention Stanford University. There we go. So I just do @Stanford. I see that is there. Also, this blue check mark means they are a certified Twitter user. That means that really is Stanford University. If you're following celebrities, there's a million, probably Miley Cyrus, Justin Bieber accounts. The one that is the real them will have the blue certified check mark. You have to go through a certification process. So if you're wondering which is which, the blue check mark means they've been certified and they are the official brand. So I want to mention Stanford, and maybe I will mention, let's see, Arcadia Unified School District. This is kind of a scattered tweet, but this way when I mention them, they will get a notification. Remember I showed you the notifications that I mentioned them, and it'll say Ryan P. Ferrer, I mentioned you on Twitter, show them the tweet in an email, and that way you kind of have that interaction with them. Now if I just mention Scott Bramley like this, he will not get a direct notification that I mentioned him. He may run across the tweet, he may not, but if I do this kind of mention with the @ he will definitely see that in his notifications, and then maybe he can respond, he can retweet it, he can favorite it, do whatever he would like. So that's sending out a tweet. The hashtag, again, you just put the pound symbol before it if you're talking about a certain subject, if you're talking about Twitter, or you're having an ed chat, or you just think your tweet was cool. You can do a hashtag for anything you want. And then if you wanted to search who else is tweeting about those particular hashtags, let's take ed chat for example, educational chat. You just go up to your search bar, click ed chat, and then your home feed will basically take you to everybody that is talking about ed chat. And here's the yellow one that is an advertisement promoted by. Scroll down to see all the ed chats. And this is a way to filter if you are interested in the Dodgers and seeing who's hashtagging the Dodgers and talking about them. Just do it in your search box. It'll give you two options. It'll give you the top hashtag Dodgers or all. You can click all, and it'll be everyone that's hashtagging Dodgers. You'll see that tweet in the news feed. So that's how you discover hashtags and pull them up. So when you see tweets on your news feed, we're back to our home. We clicked home. Everyone I'm following is here. So let's take the Onion's always interesting. Let's just take the City of Tucson's tweet here. Under the tweet, you'll see some options here. So this is the reply. So if I wanted to reply to the City of Tucson, it'll automatically pull up a mention of them and U of A, University of Arizona, that was also mentioned in the tweet. Now say if I just wanted to reply to City of Tucson, I can delete the U of A, and then whatever I write in here, interesting tweet, and then I tweet that, they will get a notification that I mentioned them and replied to them via their email or on their notification section on their web version up there. If I just wanted to retweet them to my followers, a retweet is just sending this information, this tweet, to everyone that's following me. So if I want to do that, I could hit retweet. It'll say, are you sure? Or cancel. If I wanted to retweet it, I just hit that. And this tweet, maybe I think it's interesting, it's cool. I hit retweet and can pass it along to everyone that's following me. If I want to favorite it, add it to my favorite list, I just click the yellow star there. It'll favorite it, and then it'll go to my favorite list where I can easily go back and find it later. That's one of the criticisms about Twitter, is that the news feed, so many things are being tweeted and it's hard to catch up. So if I wanted to go back and find this tweet, it would be really hard to do it. But if I go to my profile page and I had favorited it, it will pull up all my favorites right here, and I can easily see those no matter when it was tweeted out. So back to some of the tweets. So you have the reply, the retweet, the favorite, and then it gives you more options. So you can share this tweet via email, embed the tweet in the blog. If they're becoming a little annoying to you, you can mute this person, or you can block and report them. Muting them, a lot of people will do this with news stations that are covering breaking news or something they're not interested in. They'll mute them and then they'll go back and unmute them later. Or you can simply, if you didn't want to follow the world champion Giants, you can just go click unfollow and they will no longer show up in your news feed. So up here, your little profile icon there, this takes you to your profile. This takes you to your list, help, keyboard shortcuts, and settings. We'll go over settings briefly. This is your basic account settings here, your username, your email address, the basics. You have the security and privacy, change your passwords. You can now do shopping directly through Twitter. Some of your mobile connections, email notifications. So here's your email notifications. A lot of people get scared. I don't want to be notified every time somebody tweets about me or mentions me. They think it's going to be overwhelming and a little annoying. It's really not, and you want to respond to people that are mentioning you, retweeting you, and you can always come back here and turn them off, and you can select whatever sort of notifications you get. I would recommend getting notifications for all these in case somebody does send you a direct message, that sort of thing. You'll be notified right away. Muted accounts, if I had any muted, this is where I would go to unmute them. This is design. This is where you can change your background and all that sort of stuff there as well. So click up here. This is how you get to your settings, and you can start adjusting your account notifications, password, and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so we go back to home. Again, the news feed. These are all the people we're following. So how do you get followers? Where do you go? Who do you want to follow? So just basically start with your interest, whatever you're interested in, whether it's a sport team, you're looking to network professionally. So we'll use Stanford again as an example. If I'm interested in Stanford, the research, or I'm an alum, I'll do Stanford, and so there's Stanford University. I see Stanford Business, Stanford Athletics. So I'll click on Stanford University, and right up here it'll give me kind of their basics, how many tweets they sent out, who they're following, how many followers they have, their favorites, and their list. So I click them, and now I'm following them. Then it'll bring up similar accounts. Also a good trick. So Stanford has almost 250,000 followers, right? They're only following 926. So I can click on them, see who they're following. Pretty interesting. And maybe I want to follow them. Stanford Brain seems like a branch of one of Stanford's colleges there. They're following these people. So you can, and that's why it's important when you sign up for Twitter to put some information in there, put your real name up there, so people can recognize you, follow you, they can see your interest. If you have similar interests, then you can easily click follow, and they're in your newsfeed. Now, in order to get followers, you really need to follow people. When you do follow somebody, again, they will get a notification that you are now following them. So I have these notifications that people are following me. So what I'll usually do is I'll click on them and see if I'm interested in following them back. So that's a good way to let people know you're on Twitter. Start following people. They see you're out there, and then they can follow you back. Okay, what else do we have here? So I think that's pretty much it. Let's send out another tweet just to practice. So go to the What's Happening box or the tweet option up there. Screencast using an app called Snagit. So I'll mention that company, their app. There it is. Snagit. I will post it to, let's maybe see if we can find YouTube to mention. There we go. There's YouTube. When I'm done, AUSD Bramley and his tweets, his Twitter friends might be interested. See, now it says I have 2 characters left. What if I went over? This was, see, it'll highlight in red. It'll say -4. So now I can't hit the tweet option. I have to go back, get back to 0. Now I can hit tweet again. If I wanted to add a photo, remember that'll take away some characters as well. So concluding a Twitter screencast using Snagit. I will post it to YouTube when I'm done. AOSD Bramley and his tweets might be interested. So you can use a hashtag at the end of your sentence. If we did have more characters left, maybe we do a tech talk, social media, or you can use them in the middle of a sentence. You can mention somebody. I can mention AUSD Bramley at the beginning, at the end, make it flow within the sentence. It's really up to you. There's no preferred way, proper way to do it. It's social media. It's fun. Do whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with. So let's see if I want to send this. Concluding a Twitter screencast using Snagit. I will post it to YouTube when I'm done. AUSD Bramley's tweets might be interested. Okay, so let's just send that out. So now when I go to my profile, I'll see that tweet and everything else that I've either tweeted myself or retweeted. There I am talking Twitter the other day. Tom Bruce, one of our principals, sent this out. Looks like I'm sleeping. Talking Twitter again. So I retweeted that. Talked about the Giants winning the World Series. So that's your own page there. And so now Scott will get the notification that I mentioned him. Snagit will get it. YouTube will get it. Scott will likely retweet it, YouTube and snag it. Maybe not, but at least they know I'm talking about them, and then that's kind of how you get your name out there. If you have any other questions, feel free to tweet me, Ryan P. Ferran. Be happy to answer them and dive in a little deeper. But hopefully now you have a general understanding of the basics, how to follow people, how to send out a tweet, how to mention people, put in hashtags, and that sort of thing. One last thing I want to show you is list. Your news feed does get very kind of clogged up if you start to follow a lot of people. Let's say I just wanted to get a news feed of people I work with. I can add them to my list. I have a list here called AUSD Tweeps. So when I click on this, I have 40 members in there. I will just see people I work with in this home feed. It's a great way to organize your Twitter feed and keep all the other followers kind of out of your news feed at the time that you don't want in there. So when you go to a certain account, say I went to our Arcadia Unified page, you can see they have two lists. I created these two lists, PTA Community Education list, AUSD staff. There's 114 members. So I can click on this, and if I wanted to subscribe to it, so this would show up as my list now. I hit subscribe. I can see the list members, list subscribers. So when I go back to my profile or I click on my list, I can now use their list in my newsfeed. It's a great way to, again, organize your newsfeed, your followers, and filter out some of the people you don't want to see at the moment. So I highly recommend using list. And in order to add somebody to a list, let's go back to Stanford real quick. So say I wanted to add Stanford to one of my lists. I click on the little wheel here. It'll give me some options, add or remove from list. This is where you can also block a report, tweet at Stanford. So just add or remove to list, and whatever list I wanted to add them to, check, close it out, and now they're on that list. Very simple, great way to do it. Any other questions? Again, send me a tweet at Ryan P. Ferran. Be glad to help.